Alright, so I got to check out the latest horror thriller, Backrooms, which just came out in theatres a few days ago. I'm keen to give my review for it right now, and I kind of say the same thing every time when it comes to the new horror thriller. It's kind of like the movie of the week at this point now. Now, I will give 2026 a lot of credit. It is actually a good year for horror thrillers. There's a lot coming out, lots of variety. However, I can't say that all of them have been good. We've had a few stinkers. Hokum came out a few weeks ago, which I'm classifying as a stinker. We had Passengers a couple weeks ago, which I'm not even going to bother reviewing because it's arguably the worst movie I've seen this year. Earlier in the year, we had things like Whistle, which was just terrible. So there's been a few stinkers that have come to mind. So every time I go into a new horror thriller movie of the week, there's a lot of excitement around it. I'm very optimistic yet pessimistic as well. So I'm very cautious, you know, I've got my fingers crossed, but I'm not holding my breath. It's the same for every one of these. So Backrooms is getting a lot of attention, a lot of hype. So I'm keen to give you my thoughts as to how it fares. And it's all right. It's nothing crazy. I think that it's not going to win horror movie of May for me. I think it's going to go to Obsession. However, Backrooms, it's not insultingly bad. It's not a bad movie. It's fine. It does some things which I like, some things which I wasn't a huge fan of. So keen to discuss those now. So the movie follows Clark, who is a furniture store owner. He's not very happy at where his life is, and he works at a furniture store and discovers the back rooms at the back of the store. So there's all these other rooms at the back of the store that he manages to cross over through a wall, and he sees some disturbing creatures who lie about in the back rooms, doing what they do. Obviously terrorizing Clark and going about their business until Clark figures out what's going on. All the while, he's seeing a psychologist, Dr. Mary, who's trying to help him through some issues regarding his failed relationship with his ex-partner, who kicked him out of the house. So that's a sore point for Clark throughout the movie. It's going to ultimately culminate to what we see later on, but Mary is helping him out through that and will play a prominent role in the movie, especially later on in the film. So on the two main characters, the film primarily follows these two characters throughout the whole movie. Now, Clark, we're going to spend a lot of time with in the first 2/3 of the movie. We're going to spend more time with Mary throughout the back third. The change I'm not crazy about. I would have preferred to have kept following Clark for more of it. However, it's pretty clear where the story gets serviced, where these two do kind of flip over and one becomes the main character over the other. So I can't be too upset about that. I think ultimately, though, the stuff with Clark was more interesting than the stuff with Mary for me. However, obviously Mary's on the poster. Mary is centered as, I think, the overall main character of the film, so it kind of does make some sense to me as to why we do get more Mary in the back third than Clark. I will say I do like the setup we get with Clark. I think that for a character, they explore him pretty well. I think we get a lot of good emotional moments with Clark early, which set up his character growth and journey throughout the movie. So I do appreciate them trying to put some effort in with his character. It doesn't land 100% of the time. I think that Clark's predicament, obviously, there's some stuff going on with him where his failed relationship is obviously partly his fault, and the movie takes a great step in trying to get him to discover that he can't be deflecting blame off his relationship to other people. So it does have a lot of the tropes of a character trying to figure out that whether he's responsible or guilty for a failed relationship working out, and that's essentially what Clark's character will take on throughout the film, is eventually trying to reason and rationalize whether he is responsible for his relationship not working out or not, and whether he should be taking on the guilt for that or not. So I appreciate the exploration to his character throughout the movie. I think that Mary was a little bit disappointing in the way that her character is written. We don't get a whole lot about her, which is partially probably the point. As we will learn later throughout the movie, there were some other things going on with her character. However, I would have appreciated some more moments with her which explore her character. She's essentially just the emotional support for Clark and his relationship, which he can't seem to get over throughout most of the movie. So I think that her character does suffer because of that, especially considering the emphasis that they put on her character in the back third of the movie. Would have been nice to get some more exploration of her character. But as mentioned, there's clearly reasons why they're not fleshing out her fully, which they try to give you a hint at in the back third of the movie. So I'm not mad about it. It just would have been a bit of a plus had they have explored her character a bit more than they did. I will say that the film does do a lot of handheld found footage elements within it. Now, found footage has been done time and time again in horror films, but I'd say that the found footage stuff in this movie is among the best we've seen, best I've seen anyway. I think that some of the stuff that we see on the camcorder, look, not only is it eerie and creepier, but the stuff they do with the characters coming out of the shadows and just peeping around the wall and stuff like that is very clever. I do appreciate the way that they went about that. I think that the found footage stuff in this movie actually services the eerie aspect of it, whereas in the past we've just seen the gimmick being used for it. So I got to give the movie some props for that. Did appreciate that. So thumbs up on that department from the movie. Apart from that though, I mean, once we see the creatures and the mystery goes away, you hear it all the time. Things are scarier when you're not shown in full. So when you are shown in full, the fear factor does go away considerably, at least for me. I don't think that showing the creatures to the capacity which they do services the movie. I think it's the opposite. I think that ultimately, the more that they're showing these creatures, the less scary it is and the less on the seat you are. Once kind of things are revealed in the third act, it just becomes pretty regulatory, fuck, gotta get out of here type situation. So to my understanding, it would have been a lot better had we only seen perhaps them for a brief second at the end. But no, you do see the creatures quite a lot in the movie. So it does kind of lose its pizzazz pretty fast. The only other thing I have to really say about the movie is that the ending, while I'm not going to spoil it, I don't feel like the ending services the movie at all. I feel like the ending is clearly designed to set up future potential projects with this franchise. And ultimately, I sat there once the movie ended, not sure how I felt about it. It took me a day or two to kind of come to a consensus. And ultimately, I don't like the ending. I don't really appreciate the fact that the ending becomes, it's like a mystery box where now there's something else going on and there's all different avenues which it can go. I didn't really appreciate it. I would have preferred it to be closed. Closed cut for a movie like this. A movie like this doesn't need to be a franchise in my opinion. It's a cool concept, but as I said, they've shown the creatures now. We have enough context as to what's going on to kind of get it. So I don't think this movie needs to be a franchise necessarily. Whether they do or don't make it into one, I don't know. But I wasn't a fan of the ending. Overall, I'd say Backrooms is fine. It's got some creepy, eerie elements to it. I appreciate them trying with the character development. However, ultimately, I think it falls flat on the ending. I don't think that it really lives up to the ideas that it puts forth. I think that it does fall short ultimately in the way it's executed. But it is a cool idea and there are some creepy, eerie elements to it. But I'm not going to give it any kind of crazy rating just because for me it was just fine. I'd give it a 6 out of 10. I don't think it's insultingly bad. I don't think that it's amazingly good. It's probably just somewhere in the middle range. It's a movie that I'd watch once and wouldn't really think to watch again. But if you are looking forward to Backrooms or have engaged with the media before, I know it is an existing property, then you might like it a bit more than me. But to me, it was just a perfectly mid horror thriller film, which had some creepy elements to it, some okay character development, but ultimately didn't do much in the close of the movie. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Hope you enjoyed the review. If you liked the review, feel free to please give it a thumbs up. You can subscribe down below as well if you like as well. Got some more movie reviews on the way. Looking forward to it, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Have a great day. Bye.